Hello, how are you today? Thank you for rolling with BJ in the kitchen. Today we're gonna cook up this yellow squash. I don't know if some of you've heard of that, but we're gonna cook that. It's like zucchini, but it's yellow and it's really good. So we're gonna fry it up. So we need a half an onion chopped up, half a teaspoon of seasoned salt, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of pepper, and a quarter teaspoon of accent salt. That's just my preference for the accent salt. You don't have to use it. Actually, you can omit any of these seasonings. Like if you're not a salt eater or whatever, you can just use the garlic powder and the pepper. You don't have to use the seasoned salt. Okay? So I already chopped up one. Now you got to wash these really, really good, because you're going to cook the skin and the inside, right? So you wash them really good, you let them dry, and you chop them up into small pieces. And I have a skillet on the stove, and I have a tablespoon and a half of vegetable oil, and I'm going to cut that on and let it start getting hot. And I'm going to finish chopping up this other squash, and then we're going to go ahead on and cook this up. I'll be right back. Okay, my grease is pretty hot. Yeah, it's hot enough. So we're just gonna start laying the squash in here. Okay, so we got them all in there. And you just want to move them around. Don't let them stick. It don't take long to cook either. So you just want to keep it moving around. Just glaze them with the oil. Now I have my fire on medium low. I'm going to cut it up to medium. And you just want to let them all get saturated with the vegetable oil. And then they're going to turn darker. So I'm just going to let them sit. It's almost like cooking smothered potatoes. So you're just going to let them sit and let the heat just cook them. And then we're going to turn them over on the other side. So let them cook on this side for about maybe 2 minutes. And then just take your spatula and just start turning them over until they all turned over. And then in the end, we're going to add our onion and our seasoning. So I'm just going to let these cook like this for about 2.5 minutes, and then I'll be back. Actually, it's been about 3 minutes. So now I'm going to start flipping them over. You want to make sure they try to cook as even as possible. So I'm going to let them cook another maybe 3 to 3.5 minutes. And then I'm going to probably drain a little of this grease off before I add my onion and seasoning. So just make sure they all can get some heat. And I'll be back in about 3 minutes. Okay, now I'm gonna go off camera and pour the grease off of my squash, and then I'll be right back. Cut your fire on low when you come back. Well, not when you come back, but when you're doing yours, after you take the grease, drain the grease off, then cut your fire on low. My fire will be on low when I return. Okay, so now I drained the grease off and I put my onions in. My fire is on low, but it's too low, so we're going to cut it up to medium. And we're just going to sprinkle a little. I didn't even use all of the onion because I only used 2 squash. And you see what happens when they cook down. So if you're going to use a half an onion, you might want to use 3 squash. I use 2 because it's just for me. So I probably won't even need all this seasoning. So I'm just going to start by sprinkling a little on there. So I'm using half of what I put in the container for now. And then just put the lid on it and let it simmer. After you stir in your seasoning and stir in your onion, and this is going to be a nice dish. So I'm just going to let this simmer. And you can taste it to see if you want to put any more seasoning, but I don't think I'm going to put any more on mine. So for this recipe, you might want to use 3 squash. But if it's just for 1 person or 2 people, I would stick with the 2 squash. Because this is just for me for a couple of days. Okay, so now that the fire is going and it's simmering, I'm going to cut the fire down just a little bit. So I'm going to cut it on medium low, and I'm going to put the lid on it for about maybe 3 minutes. Well, maybe about 1.5 minutes, and then it'll be done. Okay, I cut the fire down to low, and I'm actually going to cut it off right now. And I'm just going to continue. There's the finished look. I put a little more seasoning in mine, and I'm going to let it sit for about 5 minutes before I take it out the skillet so the onion can continue to cook in it. And then we'll come back and give it a name. Okay, here is the final look of the squash and onions. And we're going to name this BJ Golden Squash. Once again, thanks for rolling with BJ in the kitchen. I'll see you on the next time. God bless. Please like this video, share with a friend, and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And I'll see you on the next video.